Hi, I'm Tommy.
And I'm Paul.
Welcome to our podcast, Dementia from the Inside Out. I'm Tommy Dunn and I'm living with Alzheimer's.
And I'm Paul Hitchmo, also living with Alzheimer's.
And today we're going to be chatting about the importance of creating dementia-inclusive societies. Now, people living with dementia should not be excluded from society because through no fault of their own, they have an illness that society cannot come to terms with.
People living with dementia and their carers need to feel included in society.
We need to work towards a society that includes and empowers people living with dementia.
As well as older people in general. And we must not forget people with other disabilities.
We need to live in societies that respects people for who they are, rather than one that segregates them.
While there is currently no cure for dementia, there is much that can be done to support people with dementia to live better.
To live better, to me, means that I'm given equal opportunities to do what other people in society can do.
That I'm not discriminated or ostracised just because I have, through no fault of my own, a medical condition.
But we now have people living with dementia saying, give us the right support and we can live as well as can be with our dementia.
But the very idea that it's possible to live well with dementia is one that presents a challenge to the orthodox view of dementia.
Yeah, but after all, the idea that a diagnosis of dementia is life-ending is deeply ingrained.
But this is increasingly being challenged as new visions for living with dementia emerge.
Now, you often hear people say person-centred dementia care, but what does it actually mean?
Person-centred dementia care is about understanding and responding to the person with dementia as an individual.
Yeah, it involves considering that the whole person, taking into account not just their health condition.
Person-centred dementia care is about each individual's life history, unique abilities, interests, preferences and needs.
Yeah, now, person-centred dementia care is about building relationships with people living with dementia and their family carers.
It's about putting them at the heart of decision-making.
Person-centred dementia care is about ensuring the person is an equal partner in their health and care.
Person-centred dementia care. It's nothing more than every other member of society wants and expects.
Yeah, so social connection and a sense of belonging are essential to well-being and the quality of life.
Yes, certainly they are vital.
There's a need to raise public awareness and improve understanding of dementia by engaging communities and helping them to assume ownership of this endeavour.
Too many people affected by dementia feel society fails to understand the condition they live with, its impact, or how to interact with them.
Yeah, unfortunately, there's a lot of stigma associated with this condition.
So by raising public awareness about dementia and helping them understand it is the first step to combating stigma.
Yeah, sooner or later, dementia will come knocking at your door. Whether it's for you, your family, your friends, or one of your neighbours, it will affect you in one form or another.
Having dementia is bad enough without people treating you differently.
When you are given a diagnosis of dementia, your whole life changes, especially in society.
You become socially isolated from your friends. Society will look down on you.
Now think of that, and letting society's prejudice against people that are different from what some people in society perceive as the norm.
So gay, lesbian, transgender, bisexuals, etc., then the stigma of dementia can be doubled.
Now, people are afraid of dementia because they don't understand it. And for years, societies have ignored it.
Maybe in the hope that you keep it hidden away, it will go away.
Dementia's not going to go away. But it's reached a stage now where society can no longer ignore it.
We're moving away from the concept of protecting the patient from the diagnosis because nothing can be done.
Society is now realising that they need to be putting the person first and the dementia second.
Society needs to be recognising the personhood, rights and citizenship of people first and foremost.
Yeah, there needs to be a recognition of the person's source of identity, example, places, culture, history, and community.
Indeed, we need some simple changes to existing services.
Yeah, we need to raise this awareness for those who come into day-to-day contact with people living with dementia, such as staff working in shops, libraries, and leisure centres.
People living with dementia feel uneasy using council services and may require help using them.
Well, that's why it's important that frontline staff receive the appropriate training so that people living with dementia feel more confident and welcoming in using council services.
We need people living with dementia to be more involved.
Yeah, we need the meaningful involvement of all people living with dementia in the governance, management, and key decision-making process of all organisations.
Where people with other health conditions and disabilities are involved in these activities.
We also need community, voluntary, faith groups and organisations to consider providing services such as volunteer drivers, visitors and respite.
We need to provide peer support programmes and at the least dementia cafes for all people with dementia and their carers.
Now, wouldn't it be great if a dementia-friendly taxi company could assign the same drivers to their regular customers with dementia?
And this way it would make the person feel safe and confident that someone knows them and ensures they make it back home safely.
Yeah. Now, every one of our peers should have the right to live in a city, town or village where people with dementia are understood, respected and supported.
If we are given that support, we will gain the confidence we need to be able to contribute to community life.
People with dementia don't want your sympathy. We want your empathy.
Because if you have empathy with us, means you have understanding, and that means you will act.
Is it too much to ask that my peers and I have an integrated society where people with dementia live in normal, home-like situations for the rest of our lives?
Yeah, with support to engage in everyday community activities.
In a dementia-friendly community where people will be aware and have an understanding of dementia.
Where people with dementia feel included and involved and have choice and control over their day-to-day lives.
Every person's health, well-being and resilience are affected by the quality of their environments,
including the availability of green and open spaces, transport, housing, access to good quality food and social isolation.
Now, in the last few years, there's been a move to promote therapeutic and supportive environments that enhance residents' well-being, strengths and their abilities.
And that meets residents' physical, emotional and psychological needs.
Now, these have been good because they focus positively on the whole person and abilities and skills rather than the negative disabilities of dementia.
We are now designing for people what happen to have dementia rather than designing for dementia itself.
I mean, even if people are living in the most appropriate housing and are receiving the advice, information and financial health and social care services they need.
If the design of their local neighbourhood prevents them from getting out and about the community, then that cannot be truly dementia friendly.
Yeah. Most people with dementia and older people in general benefit from better lighting in their home.
It can help to avoid confusion and reduce the risk of falls.
You should always try to reduce glare, shadows and reflections.
Lighting should be bright, even and natural.
Now, dementia-friendly neighbourhoods should be both a social and physical milieu in which life for people with dementia is a positive experience rather than a daily struggle. A person's social environment.
The notion of living well is difficult to pin down and highly individualistic. I use this term, but it really means normal, everyday life to me.
Yeah, for the person living with dementia, it takes a lot of energy just to get through a normal day, isn't it?
Being able to get around your local area easily is important for everyone. but particularly for those with dementia.
I mean, everyone knows about cancer and heart disease, but they need to know about dementia too.
There's a real stigma attached to this condition.
We need to help our communities to be more understanding, kinder, and more patient, because people living with dementia can still contribute so much.
There's a wealth of knowledge and experience that will be wasted if nothing is done now. Service, housing, transport.
And health providers need to draw on the lived experience to get it right.
As more people are being diagnosed with dementia and being supported to live within their communities for longer,
it would be essential for the right services and facilities to be in place and, more importantly, available.
People will need to be well housed, well nourished, cared for and enabled to remain as healthy as possible for as long as possible.
But people need to understand and recognise that as dementia progresses, people may still need more support to remain involved with their community.
We need to recognise that carers young and old need support and that they may develop stress and illness without access to a break from caring.
We need to ensure that those with dementia and those who care are recognised for the valuable people they truly are. So thank you for joining us. Drop us an email about your comments and questions on topics at this email address here.
So it's goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from him.